Just waiting for Komal to come online. I think she has. Here we go.
Hello.
Good morning, Komal.
Morning. Can you
Can
hear
you
me?
see?
Can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you. So, a big good morning to all our viewers and welcome to our Wellness Weekend. So, I'm Kavita Prakash from Pilates for Wellbeing, and I'm going to be chatting with Komal Basith today, who is a beauty editor, a skincare expert, as well as a new mom. Who's also got a toddler and a 2-month-old infant. Welcome, Komal. So lovely to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
So today, as discussed, we're going to be talking about Komal's postpartum journey with regards to how she's keeping up her nutrition, her fitness, her well-being, and her skincare program up to the mark. So let's get started. So Komal, as we go along, you can ask me a few questions and I'll ask you a few questions. And then we'll have time for our viewers to send in any questions that they might have. So just in case we are not able to answer them online, we could always send them our replies later. So that's completely doable.
To do a little bit of a...
I think we're having a bit of an issue.
We are,
Sorry.
aren't we?
I think we're having a bit of an issue with the connectivity, but so are you okay now? Can you hear me?
You fine. I just feel like I'm lagging. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you
Okay,
and hear
good.
you as well.
Okay,
Yeah, but
good,
there are
good,
moments
good.
when you just freeze,
Yeah.
the screen does freeze, but I think we'll just wait if the screen freezes and we'll start picking up the conversation.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. So like
Okay,
Kavita was
good.
saying, for everyone who is currently live with us, if you guys have any skincare questions, particularly for me, that don't get answered in the live, feel free to send them in anyway, and then we will answer them afterwards. But yeah, you said you had some questions for me, so let's get started,
Yeah.
Kavita.
Okay, absolutely. Now, the first thing, I know it's a big trend with new moms nowadays about intuitive eating. So what's your take on it? Do you practice any of that, or what do you practice from an eating perspective?
From an eating perspective, I don't practice much of anything. I'll be perfectly honest. For
Okay.
everyone who follows me on my channel, I think it's quite clear that I really like to eat. I love food. I may even have a little bit of an issue with sugar where I have a really big sweet tooth. So as far as when I was pregnant, I wouldn't say that I did too much in terms of watching my diet specifically. I just tried to sort of take it easy on the sugar. And I think that's really just always been my issue. It's just been sugar. When I first delivered, I don't know if you guys have heard of something called a japa. It's a traditional sort of how do you say it? Like a, not like a midwife, but someone who comes and takes care of the
Right.
baby for, they say the first 40 days, and I'm not sure why that figure 40, but I asked for one to come and stay with me for the first 3 months, and they
Okay.
really help out with everything. They take care of the baby and they take care of the mom as well. And we were very, very lucky. We had the same japa lady come and visit us who helped me with Misha when my daughter was born 3 years
Okay.
ago. And so, they follow a bunch of traditional sort of practices when it comes to food. And they give you, the best part is they give you massages every day. So that's
Right.
been really lovely. But she made
Okay.
me a couple of things that I would eat every day. And I really don't know what the benefits of them are, to be perfectly honest. I just sort of, they tasted delicious. So I just ate whatever she gave me. But she would do things like, roasting ajwain and making ajwain water out of it. And I did notice that with Misha, sorry, I've got a notification come up. I did notice that with Misha, I was drinking that water and she had no colic and no gas. So I was happy to do that with Eden, with my son, who's now 2 months old. She would make a lot of those, those laddus with ghee
A
and
lot
dry
of
fruits,
ghee
and
and lot of nuts. I know those are yummy.
they're so good. And I have no idea what they do for you. According to her, they help you heal I'm happy to take her word for it. I would eat a bunch of those every day. And honestly, I don't know how much that stuff really helps with, trying to get back to sort of your pre-pregnancy size or whatever it is. But I feel like at this point, you're not even thinking about that stuff. Or if you
Absolutely.
are, it's just, I learned that with Misha the last time around. I remember posting on Reddit, which is like this forum that I'm on, and I was just like, it's been 8 weeks and I can't work out because my daughter won't nap for long enough. And what do I do? And I was stressing out about it so much. And this time around, I'm just like, you know what? I put on 15 kilos with my last baby. And
Okay.
then I sort of lost even more after, and I put on 15 kilos again with this baby. And if I can do it the first time around, I can do it again. So I'm not stressing about it too much.
Yeah.
So even with eating, the only thing I've done is I've cut out sugars of the last couple of weeks, and it's been horrible. But
Yeah.
I feel like now you want to be a little bit more conscious of, because I'm nursing my baby. So what you are eating really is directly going into your baby. And that's not as much the case when you're pregnant because of the placenta, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're
Yeah.
nursing, it's literally what you put in your body is going straight into your baby's body,
Yeah.
So just trying to be a little bit more
Aware and
aware
conscious.
of that. Yeah. And with intuitive eating, I mean, one thing I've always followed, for some reason, not when I'm pregnant. When I'm pregnant, all bets have been off and I just eat, I don't know, whatever I want. But in general, and I'm kind of getting back to that now, it's really, really simple. It's just eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full,
Yeah.
And if
So
you
I think
just stick to that,
that's what intuitive eating is all about. So eat when
yeah,
you're hungry and stop when you're full, and just don't
exactly.
have, preset plans of when you want to eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So whenever you're
Exactly.
hungry, eat. Yeah, but I think that
Exactly.
seems to be, the trend, and it seems to be working for a lot of new moms.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
seems to
it
be
makes
working. And I
sense.
have, a lot of women who come up to me and say, hey, you've heard about intuitive eating and how does that go?
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? Just do what your body asks you of,
Yes.
because that's
Yes.
the best way. You have to
I
listen to your body at this stage.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true. I didn't realize
yeah,
it was called intuitive eating, but yeah, I
yeah,
suppose that's what I've been doing. I don't know how much it's helping as of now. I feel like, when
yeah,
you're nursing, sometimes your body just wants to hang on to the extra stores of fat or whatever it is. But,
yeah,
I'm not stressing about it too much because I am, like I was saying earlier when we were chatting, catching up after ages before this call, I'm kind
right.
of getting back into Pilates a little bit now. And I
Yeah,
feel like as long as you find something that you enjoy doing, it'll all just fall into place. So,
I'm
yeah,
sure. I'm sure.
yeah.
Okay. So great. So let's move on now. Any questions? So I think we could take turns in asking each other questions.
Yeah.
Komal, if
So,
that's
I
all
mean,
right. Yeah.
like I said, I'm getting back into Pilates ever so slowly.
Okay.
At the moment, actually, I wanted to ask you, when are you guys opening again, and how are you reacting to this coronavirus thing, and what
Well,
are your plans for sort of reopening again and staying safe? And I'm sure everyone's wondering, right?
yeah, no, it is. It's really been hard because
Yeah,
we closed almost 1 week before the actual lockdown because it was gymnasiums and
right,
fitness centers who were asked to close down. So we
right.
shut down, I think, if I'm right, on the 16th of March. So it's 3 months and it's been really hard. But we've tried our best to stay connected with our clients. Even though we don't do online classes or lessons, Komal, because we work with a lot of rehabilitative
Right,
clients.
right, 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 right.
So we do, short homework videos and we post them on our YouTube channel so people can always look it up and keep up their Pilates practice.
Okay.
And we've tried to stay engaged with our clients as much as possible. But I'm really very excited, looking forward to reopening, hopefully by the 1st of June.
How will that work
So,
though? I mean, in terms of social distancing, and I'm
yeah,
assuming you're going to double down
safety.
on the sanitization. I remember you guys used to be really
Absolutely.
specific about that anyway.
No, absolutely. So, we intend to start off only with our private lessons first. And
Yeah,
ours is not a big group format in any case. Even our group
I know.
classes, we don't
Yeah.
teach more than, five in our Indranagar studio and four in our Level Road studio. So, in spite of that, we said we are going to start only with our private lessons initially. Of course, when people come into the studio, we need to, we want to be able to kind of take all precautions and measures, you know,
Uh,
um, have non-toxic human sprays, when they come in. And then uh, they wearing masks is something, I would want to leave that to the client's discretion, because Pilates is so much about breathing. And,
Well, that's what I was wondering. I mean,
yeah,
how
and
does that work?
what I realize now is, the usage of masks are not being done sensibly.
Mm-hmm.
People just tend to wear it, even when they're driving, which is not required. When they're sitting in
Yeah,
their cars,
yeah,
they have their ACs on, and if nobody's next to them, they really don't need to wear masks, because it's it's going to prevent oxygen from flowing into the brains, and which is not healthy. So we want to
yeah.
be able to leave that discretion to the clients. But however, having said that, yes, wear gloves and sanitize yourself when you come in and when you go out. And
Trainers, will they be
I've advised my
encouraged?
instructors
Yeah.
to practice more of verbal cues and imagery that we use specifically in the classical Pilates form, because bodily partnering is also pretty big with us. As you know, you've done Pilates with
Yeah,
us, so we
yeah.
want to be able to refrain from that, especially making sure that our clients still feel safe. So we have a lot of precautions laid down, and hopefully that'll all fall into place, and we'll take it along as we reopen. And I hope we reopen by the 1st of June. So as of now, it stands at 1st of June, but you never know, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you never know. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true
Okay.
that.
Yeah. So the next thing that I'd like to actually ask you
Misha,
is,
in the video for just a minute. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments. No, guys, we cannot, because then we will not have a video. Misha will grab the phone and I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah. Also, she's
okay.
downstairs and she's having a bath. So no. Yeah.
Okay. So from
Yeah.
a well-being perspective, do you
Yeah.
practice any meditation, or do you have any scheduled time offs that you take from your babies, Komal? I know as a new mother, you must be super stressed and with
Yeah.
hardly any time for yourself. But
Yeah.
what do you do? Do you do anything at all?
Nothing. No, that's not true. That's not true. It feels like nothing. It feels like nothing. But no, I do stuff. I mean, so like I was saying, I still have this lovely Japa. We got very lucky. She came to Bangalore from Calcutta a week before. Sorry, 3 or 4 days before the lockdown. So she's been with us.
Okay.
And she's been giving me a massage every day. And well,
Okay.
not every day. It really depends on Eden's nap schedule. But when he's asleep for that 2 hour chunk in the morning is when I get a massage. So, I can't tell you how I love massages anyway, but this is really, it's an hour that's just for me, and I just love it so much, and I'm going to miss it so much when she leaves. But so I've been doing that. But for
Mhm.
me, just the kind of person I am, for me, the best form of self-care for me has always been some kind of a fitness, something to do with working out. So
Okay.
I've really been missing that. And for all of my pregnancy, I was advised not to work out by my gynecologist. And so I was doing Pilates, and then I had to stop cold turkey when I found out that I was pregnant with Eden. And I've really, really been missing that. For me, that's the most important thing for my mental health, because it makes me feel like I'm doing something for myself. It's that
Right.
1 hour. I used to really enjoy leaving the house
Yeah.
and driving to the Pilates studio and just knowing that, for the next hour and a half, it's just me time. It's wonderful. And it makes you
Yeah.
so much more present and so much more available for your kids and for your family and for yourself, really, right?
Absolutely.
So I haven't been able to do that also with the lockdown, with,
Mhm.
the studio being shut, etc. I've started doing a little bit of Pilates at home, but you know how it is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
with Pilates, unless you're really experienced, it is always better to do it with a teacher,
With an instructor. Yeah.
with an
Yeah.
instructor. It's not the same, and especially having a year's break now. It's been 3 months since I've had the baby almost, and 9 months of pregnancy. I haven't been doing Pilates for a year. So trying to get back into that. What I have been doing is I've noticed that Eden really loves being in his carrier, the baby carrier,
Mm-hmm.
which Misha
Mm-hmm.
didn't, but he
Yeah.
falls right asleep. So I've been going for a walk. And
Okay.
I've recently discovered that there is such a thing as a baby wearing workout. It's a type of
Mm-hmm.
workout that you can find online. So I've been trying to do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
But just a little bit. It's literally been 3 days since I've been able to do
Okay.
that. But it's already just making me feel so much better, you know? I
better.
mean,
Right.
yeah. So I'm just waiting for everything to open up so that I can get back to doing Pilates, because that's the thing I enjoy the most. It's the thing that makes me really sort of,
Lovely.
yeah, it makes me really happy. So that will be my ritual. For now, I'm just trying to do what I can when I can.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So, yeah. So now I know we were talking about, I remember you asking me, when can one start doing Pilates, after
Yeah.
childbirth?
Yeah, yeah,
And
because there's a lot of information out there, and is there? My gynecologist didn't really have a clear answer for me either. So,
yeah,
if you have a what they call a regular birth, and if you have a
yeah,
C-section, is there a
yeah.
difference in when you can get back to doing
Yeah,
Pilates?
absolutely. Say if you have a
Yeah,
normal delivery, I would say anywhere between 5 to 7 weeks is safe. And if it's a
right, right.
C-section, then we would look at about 10 to 12 weeks. And typically, if it is a
Yeah,
C-section, then we would definitely ask our clients to have, uh, like a go-ahead certificate from their gynac, just to ensure that, we are covered and it's safe for them to, start exercising. But Pilates being such a low intensity mindful practice, the prenatal clients that I work with, Komal, I normally tell them, see, hey, if you've had a normal delivery, then say, even after 2 or 3 days when you're lying down and resting, you can start doing your typical pelvic movements,
yes, yeah.
so rolling the
Actually,
pelvis.
it's interesting, but when you have a C-section, like
Yeah.
I did with both my children,
Okay.
they give you these exercises to do while you're lying in the hospital bed, and they
Yeah.
are very similar to the
Yeah.
Pilates pelvic, the pelvic
Yeah.
exercises,
Yeah. Just the
which I
pelvic
thought was
tilts.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, the
just
pelvic
tilting the
tilt,
pelvis
yeah,
back and forth, drawing
yes,
little circles with your pelvis. That's
yeah,
again, we're just looking to creating mobility and slowly start building strength. That's what we're focusing on.
yeah,
Because most often, like people make it out to be that Pilates is all about the core, and Pilates, if your core is strong, it supports the spine. Uh, well, I would say yes and no, but for us, Pilates is so much about the hips and pelvis, because that is your powerhouse, because that's what needs to be, mobile, and it has to have some amount of stability and flexibility, and the movement perspective needs to keep strong in those areas. That's the only way that one can actually start activating your abdominals, and that in turn will support your spine. So
makes
little
sense.
shoulder bridges, etc., while you're lying down resting, so that is good enough. And then say 5 to 7 weeks down the line, is when you actually start doing some exercises. Again, your Pilates movements are so subtle, so I mean, with the breath aspect, it just energizes you, and which in turn helps you move better.
Yeah, I think that just to add on to what you were saying, I think that there tends to be a big focus on sort of the inch loss and the weight loss after having a baby, right? Postpartum. And I think that there is maybe, possibly, this connotation that with Pilates and the really small movements that you're doing, it's not really going to
Yeah,
do anything for you in terms of weight loss. But I think what a lot of people maybe don't quite understand is that, I mean, I always like to look at it as like stepping stones, right? So if you don't have a really strong core and your hips and everything aren't in order and they aren't sort of able to, sort of protect the rest of your body, you can't
yeah,
do the exercises that you think you want to do,
yeah,
all the body weight exercises, getting back to the gym, et cetera, and using all your sort of bigger muscle groups and stuff, unless you have like the basics right.
yeah,
And that's something that I didn't realize with my first child, because
yeah,
I wasn't doing Pilates. I didn't know anything about it with Misha, but between two kids, I started doing Pilates, etc. Um, I didn't realize how much, first of all, your body just changes after pregnancy, and the way everything just sort of widens and stretches and
yeah,
actually really gets a lot weaker as well, right? I feel like
yeah,
especially
yeah,
with subsequent children,
yeah,
it's more strain on the body, and Pilates just so subtly and just
yeah,
so beautifully just sort of brings everything in again and strengthens everything. And I
yeah,
feel like I mean, just the difference between working out after my second child and working out after my first child. I
yeah,
feel like Pilates is far, far more suited for postpartum women. than
Yeah.
just getting straight back into the gym and doing your sort of weights and stuff like that. So
No,
yeah, I mean,
absolutely. I mean,
do you?
that's no, no, I completely agree with that because I always tell, new moms, don't be in a hurry to, get back to your pre-pregnancy weight.
But
You
we
know,
are
take
all in a hurry. That's
You
the
know,
sad bit.
I
I'm in
know,
a
but
hurry.
then,
We're all in a
you
hurry.
need
But
to, you
yes,
need to, self-care is super important. You
it's
need to
true.
kind of listen to your body, take your
It's true.
time, because, you need to have that energy within yourself to be able to look after your baby.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
as a mom, you are kind of, everything works around your baby, so you hardly have any time for yourself. But yes, taking a little bit of time off to prioritize yourself, to ensure that you are strong and you are energized, in turn helps you look after the baby better. So I always tell moms, take your time. There's no rush. You'll get back to, where you were before you got pregnant, but be mindful about it.
And
Eat
possibly even
well, eat
stronger.
healthy. Yeah, and even stronger, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So great. Let's move on now. I know you are a skincare expert. You wear a lot of products, skincare products, and people really look upon to your advices and what to use and not what to use. So do you follow any specific skincare regime, Komal?
Yes.
I know
Yes,
you can
yes.
talk volumes about
Oh
this,
my
but yes,
gosh.
I'd
I'm
love
just
to
I'm just
hear.
like, how much should I say? Because then it'll just be, we'll run out
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
hour-long limit. But yes, yes,
yeah.
I do follow a skincare routine. I would say I followed one actually since I was about 14 or 15. I don't know if my mom's watching. I thought I saw her sign on there, but
Okay.
she kind of taught me about the importance of CTM when I was really young, cleanse, tone, moisturize. And of course, now we have so many more steps in a
Yeah.
skincare routine. But excuse me, it's been the foundation of my skincare since I was quite young. And no matter what I do, I'll always come back to a cleanse, tone, moisturize routine. With my first child, I found that I really didn't have time. Honestly, the difference between having one child and the second child has been phenomenal. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have time for myself with Misha. And so I really did not have a skincare routine for about 3 months. And I feel like my skin did kind of suffer a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But now I also, with quarantine, and everyone's sort of sitting at home. And for me, I feel like I've been quarantining myself for 6 months now because
Okay.
I've been pregnant and I just didn't want to go out. I didn't have the energy. I just wanted to lie on my couch for so many, for months and then having the baby, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But it is actually when you are just at home and you're not going out as much, you're not exposed to as much pollution, you're not exposed to as much maybe air conditioning from offices, etc. It's actually a really good time to just pare your skincare routine down to the absolute basics, and it's a really great way to kind of get to know your skin a little bit better. So that's what I've been doing, just as a
Right.
function of not having a lot of time for myself. Although I have always said that a skincare routine doesn't have to take ages. Literally 3 or 4 minutes is all it takes. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of thought that goes into, like, what does my skin need? Okay, I'm gonna use this serum tonight. I'm gonna follow it up with this and then a face oil, etc. No time for all of that. So I've literally just been slapping products on. And
Mm-hmm.
so at the moment, it's been a really, really simple skincare routine. So it's literally a non-foaming face wash followed by a serum if I need one, or a toner with actives in it. So depending
Okay.
on what my skin needs, either glycolic or salicylic acid, followed by a moisturizer, and then I always seal it in with a face oil. So for anyone watching who's interested, uh, a couple of questions here, but for anyone who's watching who's interested in face oils in general, or just sort of really having your skin look and perform a lot better, I highly recommend a face oil. A lot of people think that it can break you out, it can make your skin oily. That's really not the case. I'm trying to keep this really short because I feel like I could go on and on
Yeah.
about this for hours, but essentially you want to protect your skin's moisture barrier, which means you want to keep all the good stuff, the hydration in, and keep all the bad stuff out. So if you do have a really well protected moisture barrier, everything from acne to dryness to pigmentation to fine lines and wrinkles, are issues that you will face a lot less of, if you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you want to use a face oil, and so I'm finishing everything off with a face oil. So it's literally wash my face, a serum, a moisturizer, and a face oil. So it's about 4 steps. And usually it would be maybe about 8, 9 steps. So for me, this is
Okay.
really, really pared down. And with a really minimal skincare routine, I found that my skin is actually behaving a lot better. It's a lot happier. One of the functions of my job is I'm always trying out sort of so many products, right? I mean, there's just so much stuff that you get sent and so much stuff that I'm curious about that I buy. And there's so many people who ask me to sort of, what are your thoughts on this product? And if I get a lot of questions about a specific product, I know that it's kind of it's either trending or it's something that people are really interested in, then I make sure I go out and buy it, try it for myself so I can give people an
Okay.
honest opinion. My skin
Right.
kind of, it tends to sometimes get a bit overwhelmed by that. So at the
Right.
moment, my skincare routine is super pared down. And I highly, highly recommend, especially if people are staying at home right now. I know the trend at the moment is, masking and trying different things out. And I would actually say pare it down. It's not really a time to experiment. It's a time to just get to know your skin better. So just do a cleanser, do a toner, do a moisturizer, try a face oil
Mm.
and see how that works for your skin. And then you'll really be able to see what your skin is like. If it's dry,
Okay.
that will show up. If it's oily, you will see it. For me, I have rosacea prone skin that's very sensitive. So I'm starting to see what my skin really needs. So yeah, a really basic skincare routine is what I'm following right now.
Okay. I can see
Yeah.
a lot of questions coming up. There was one
Yes.
question which said, why you stopped working out months before you delivered. So would you like to take that, Komal?
Why did I stop working out months
Yeah.
before I delivered? So I've had the same gynecologist for a couple of years now. And before I had Misha, I had two miscarriages. One was just shy of the first trimester being over. The second one was very early on. And then I had Misha. And so my gynecologist has just been extremely, extremely sort of better safe than sorry. And so even with Eden, even though with Misha, I had what you call a really boring pregnancy in the sense that
Hmm.
really nothing out of the ordinary happened. I
Okay.
got pregnant, I had the baby 9 months later. But still, she just wanted to be really, really safe. And so even with Pilates, even though it's so gentle, et cetera,
Yeah.
she didn't want me to, do anything. She was like, you can walk if you want. I'm like, I'm not going to walk because I find walking very boring. Actually, that's the thing that I love about Pilates. And also, I used to do martial arts before as well.
Hmm.
Any kind of exercise that really focuses your mind. When you're doing
Yeah.
Pilates, you really have to think about what the muscles you're using,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
what your instructor always asks you to do. And I find that
Yeah.
extremely mentally very satisfying. And so
Yeah.
if I wasn't going to be able to do that, I certainly wasn't going to walk. So I could have done a little bit of a
Yeah.
light workout. It's not like she said nothing and bed rest, but I just didn't
Yeah.
want to. So yeah.
Right.
I
Okay.
do see another one, which is which face oil do you recommend for dry skin?
Yeah.
Actually, if I can answer that right now, okay, I don't know where
Mhm.
it is because everything's a bit of a mess. But check out this brand called Juicy Chemistry. I really, really love them. They are all organic and they make amazing face oils. They have a bunch of them. I would recommend most all of them do really well with dry skin.
Right.
Can you guys hear me?
I can. I'm sure.
My AirPods just ran out of battery, so I'm going to put the volume down so that there's no echo.
Hmm.
Okay, hopefully you guys don't have an echo. I can't charge my AirPods now. There's an Australian brand called Go-To Skincare. If you guys can see, they make a product called Face Hero, which is a really fantastic face oil. Sorry about the ambulance. And then for the dry skin question, okay, so I don't have it with me right now. I can't find it. There's like 50 products on my dresser right now. But L'Occitane makes a really fantastic face oil as well. It is called
Hmm.
the Immortelle face oil. So that
Oh
is
yeah, I buy
fantastic for
that
dry
too.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
familiar with
Yeah.
that as well?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
familiar with that, and I think it does wonders for my skin. It's
Yes, yes,
really
it
good.
really
Yeah.
does. It's a
Yeah.
really good face oil. It's great for dry
Yeah.
skin. It's great for oily, acne-prone skin like I have as well. So yes. Oh, we have another one. Should we answer one more question?
Yeah. Maybe
There's
one
a
more
skincare
question.
one, there's a Pilates one. Okay, can retinol and glycolic cream be applied at the same time? Ideally not. You don't want to overwhelm your skin. Retinol in particular, especially depending on the strength that you're using, you should be starting out at 0.05, maybe even less than that.
but it can make your skin extremely sensitive. And so if you really want to use both, I would say use glycolic in the morning. Anyway, you are supposed to only use retinol at night. Regardless, also, I just want to say, since you are applying retinol, please always wear a sunscreen, because retinol can increase your skin's photosensitivity, which means it can make it more prone to sunburn. And then that is just, exposure to UVA and UVB light is just really going to exacerbate your aging and fine lines and wrinkles and pigmentation, which is what your retinol is targeting. So there's no point applying retinol if you're not going to use the sunscreen. So yeah, try not to use it at the same time, but if you're gonna, then use the glycolic during the morning and the retinol at night. There's one that says, does Pilates also work on losing belly fat, Kavita? What do you think?
Well, I get asked that question quite a lot.
I'm
Yes,
sure.
definitely it does work on reducing belly fat, but more so, I'd like to put it this way. Pilates as a movement practice does not spot train. We work on overall development of the body, because again, we have dominant muscles and indominant muscles. So most often with functional training or any high intensity workouts, your dominant muscles tend to overtake the non-dominant muscles, and they tend to get stronger and eventually, not very flexible, whereas the non-dominant muscles never get touched upon. So especially with classical Pilates, we focus a lot on the non-dominant muscles to be able to, one, prevent injuries, and to also help them work in tandem with the dominant muscles to work uniformly. So that's what we call uniform development of the body. So tummy muscles, yes, definitely you would lose them, but our focus would be again more to strengthen your pelvis and your hips, and in turn your tummy muscles get stronger, and in turn helps your spine as well. So I think that possibly answers the question on if one can reduce belly fat. So again, we just don't look at a body in isolation. When people come to me and say, hey, you know what, I want to work on my arms and I want to work on my legs. And I often hear people saying that at the end of a Pilates session, they just feel that every tiny little muscle has been worked upon.
That's right.
But not to the extent that where they feel super tired or really, that they've that they don't have any energy. They still do have energy, and that they can go about the daily chores with a lot of zeal and zest. Yeah,
in many ways I feel like you come out the class feeling a bit more energized, but it's a good it is tired. You do feel a sense of like you've worked your muscles, but it's a good tired. Absolutely. It doesn't make you feel
good
drained.
Tiredness, and you still have the whole day. I mean, if you're doing your Pilates lesson in the morning, you still have the whole day to get on with, and you're just not going to feel like super tired and you just want to curl up and rest up or anything like that. So that's why it's and it's mainly the breath factor which actually helps you be energized.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you're constantly oxygenating your muscles and your brain, so that helps you stay active.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the Pilates expert sort of answer, but I just want to say, Ayushi, as someone who's done Pilates as just a practitioner, I would say that, I mean, the answer that you always get from people who are Pilates, teachers and experts is that, yes, it's not about the belly fat, and it's true that you can't spot reduce, but I will say that it does lead to inch loss, right? If you're doing Pilates consistently, it leads to inch loss, and so you'll notice a reduction in inches all over, right? So essentially, if you do it right, you stick to it, you will see a reduction in your inches, right?
So I mean, it's great for people, to build Pilates into their practice, even if they're doing any other high intensity workouts, Komal, because Pilates, one, keeps you injury free. So whatever you love doing apart from Pilates, you'll just do that better. Be you golfing, be you love running or cycling or swimming, it just helps you. It just supports any other movement practice that you want to do. Because again, we focus so much on, working your dominant and your non-dominant muscles in tandem, keeping you injury free, and that will help you do everything else better.
Right. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Can you
So
recommend a face oil? I think I did. We had a couple of recommendations there. Check out a brand called Juicy Chemistry. If you're looking for a great face oil, that's really quite affordable if you just want to start out. L'Occitane makes great face oils as well. Does it make sense to cleanse the face daily with milk? Milk has lactic acid in it, which is a great. I mean, lactic acid is essentially derived from dairy products, but no, I'm not a big proponent of sort of the natural home remedies. I feel like a lot of times, not so much with milk, but in general, especially with things that are acidic and the pH isn't quite right, you put stuff directly on your skin, it does more harm than good. With milk, I think that if you want to use milk, if you're really intent on using milk, use it more as a mask, not as a cleanser. It doesn't really have any cleansing properties. You need something with some kind of surfactant that can actually bind to the sort of oil molecules on your skin and cleanse it of dirt, especially first thing in the morning or just any dead cells. If you want to use milk, use it as a mask. Put it on your face. The lactic acid will work, however much it can. I'm imagining that it's not going to be as effective as using an actual lactic acid with concentrated lab-built lactic acid in it, a product, an over-the-counter lactic acid product. But if you want to use milk, I suppose you could, just not as a cleanser. I actually had a Pilates related question for you, Kavita, a
sure.
postpartum Pilates related question. When you do start again, regardless of whether you're doing it as a home workout with videos at home or in the studio, just for new moms to know, what should you be focusing on? I imagine it's a little bit different from if you're just regularly just getting into Pilates for the first time, as opposed to if you're postpartum.
Yeah, I would say for postpartum moms, what you typically need to focus on would be posture and alignment and breath. Because especially when you're pregnant, your body goes through a lot of misalignment issues.
Yes.
And that is the first thing that you want to be able to focus once you've given birth. And that would typically, again, as I mentioned to you earlier now, when you're breathing correctly, when you're practicing Pilates breathing or lateral breathing, it helps you oxygenate yourself, your muscles, your brain, which in turn keeps you, mentally calm as well as focused. So which
important.
In turn helps you. Can you hear me? Sorry.
I can. I said that's so important for.
Yeah, it's so important because as a new mom, you need to stay calm to be able to look after your infant. Because I know, new moms can get super stressed. They're very sleep deprived. So Pilates helps with that. So practice on your breathing first. And next, whatever little movements that you want to do, focus on your posture and alignment. The movements could be very subtle, but again, we kind of focus on, teaching our clients to practice all of the Pilates fundamentals, staying in your neutral spine, moving from the center to be able to focus on whatever you're doing, and the breath factor. So for me, I would say the breath and posture and alignment is what you need to focus on initially. So don't think about, losing weight. Don't think about, all that.
It'll happen, right? It comes. It just comes after.
Once you get to the studio and, we could always focus on that, but get yourself set, because your priority, you're having to spend so much of time with your baby, and you need to be able to, give your best to it. And at the same time, just picking out a little bit of time to prioritize yourself, get a little bit of movement, because again, oxygenation and circulation helps with movement in the body. And which will help you, because you're going to be sitting for long hours when the baby is latching on to you. It could be quite frustrating because, nursing is also, again, you have to ensure that you're, sitting up correctly to nurse your baby. And then the way you're carrying your baby, again, focuses on your posture and alignment.
Exactly.
So that's why I
think,
say posture and alignment.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, your posture definitely goes out of whack when you're pregnant, but gosh, when you're holding a baby for hours on end, it definitely doesn't help either.
Sometimes you're not that lucky mom who have her infant sleeping straight through 2 or 3 hours, right? You could have babies who wake up like every 20 minutes and 30 minutes. So it's more of latching on to be pacified than actually to being feeding them that they're hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you just need to focus on your alignment and posture.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. I've got a, speaking of, I need to head to my baby in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm kind of keeping track of the time. So we just have 10 minutes on, and we'll try and take questions on. But Komal, let's kind of, answer questions offline as well.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
We'll record all the questions, and, we can respond to them,
sure.
as stories.
Sounds
so that
good.
will happen in the next day or two. So
Sounds
I just
good. Do you have
one
any
more question for
yes.
you.
Yes.
So I know you chose to be a mom in your 30s.
Yeah.
And most women now prefer to become, start a family in their 30s. So how does that feel? How has your experience been so far with that? Because I had my first child when I was in my early 20s. And,
right.
my early 20s, and my mom used to tell me that, hey, you know what, you're a baby yourself, and you've had your first baby.
I'm sure all moms feel that way. That's what my mom said when I got pregnant.
I'm glad now, but I would say it does have its positives as well as, you have your pros and cons as well, because all my 3 boys are like,
you have like 3 boys?
I have 3 boys. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And my oldest is 19.
Wow.
He's well into college. He's a young man. So, and I still feel that, we're more of friends, because, again, he actually doesn't call me mom. He calls me by my name, because it was, my mom really helped me look after him. So he prefers calling my mom as his mom and me more of a friend. Yeah. So, but how has your experience been?
Having kids in my 30s, well, I don't know. I think that there's pros and cons, like you were saying, right? I know there are people in my family. There's one of my sisters-in-law, and I have many because I've married into a very large family. She had her kids, as soon as she got married, really. And she really loves it, because when she was in her 20s, she felt like, okay, maybe I'm missing out a little bit. But now she's in her mid-30s and she feels like she has so much freedom because her kids are kind of a little more independent. We talk about it a lot, and because I'm the exact opposite, where all through my 20s I wasn't even thinking about kids. I got married when I was about 25 or 26, had my first baby at 32. So my mid to late 20s I was child free. And so the thing that I really like about it was my husband and I, we did everything we wanted to, all the independence. We figured that we possibly may want to have kids one day. But we didn't want to rush it. If it wasn't a pressing priority and it didn't feel like we absolutely had to have kids now, then why rush it? Let's just enjoy the time we have and do the things that we can do that traditionally people say a little bit more difficult when you do have kids. So really what we did the most of, I think, is just travel, to the point where, my friends were just like, you're traveling too much, stop. Because every 3 months we would sort of be off somewhere, and, we like to travel, we like to eat, we like to sort of, explore new cuisines, etc. So that's what we used to do. And I don't know, I feel like it was great. We did everything we wanted to, and it was lovely. Like, there was something really wonderful about that as well. Now we have kids. I had Misha at 32 and I'm 35 now. I've just had another baby. I would say the pros are that we're both, I certainly am anyway. My husband's anyway, he's always been 30 going on 50, but like mentally, but with me, I feel like I'm way more mentally better equipped to handle the responsibility of having children. I've grown up a lot, in my 30s. I know it's not, it's not old, but it's definitely a lot more mature. I feel like you have a better sense of who you are in your 30s. But having said that, I mean, I think about this a lot, because it's kind of like, I always wondered when I didn't have kids, is life really going to be better? Am I going to regret it? And now that I do have kids, it's like I love my life now. I love having children. I genuinely, I
Yeah.
hate pregnancy. I do not enjoy being pregnant at all. But
Yeah.
I really, really like so far the experience of bringing up, raising kids and having a family. I enjoy it greatly. But I also really enjoyed being in my 20s and doing whatever I wanted. And
Okay.
I would always wonder, will I regret not having kids, or, will I regret having kids? And it's a really interesting perspective to have now, because I just feel like, had we gone on the way we were in our 20s and just not had children,
Yeah.
life would still have been great,
Yeah.
And now that we have kids, life is great
Yeah.
in its own way. So
Yeah.
I kind of just feel like it really just depends on your own mental state a little bit. And if you
Yeah.
don't have kids, it's not like you don't know what you're missing, but I feel like I would have been perfectly happy as well.
Yeah.
And I always
Yeah.
say this to friends who don't have kids or who are thinking about it, and am I going to miss out? And I just feel like if
Yeah.
you're happy now and you continue living your life the way you are,
Yeah.
you'd probably still just continue to be happy, And if you have kids because you really want to, it'll be
Yeah.
challenging, but I'm sure you'll enjoy that too. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's funny how life works. But yeah,
Yeah, it's
I think there are
different. It's
pros.
just that I think it's got its own pros and cons of, being a mother
Absolutely.
younger, much younger than in your 30s. I completely agree with what you're saying.
Absolutely. And there
So,
is also, like you were saying, that advantage of, when your kids come, I've started saying come instead of become, because that's what my daughter says, and now it's become a habit. But when your kids become older, you're still,
Yeah.
there isn't such a huge generation gap that you can't connect with them. And I
Yeah.
think that's a really huge advantage of having kids
Yeah.
when you're really young. Also having more energy. I mean, literally, I was just telling my husband this. I want to get back to Pilates as soon as I can, because our son is going to grow up. He's already starting to get really chatty, and I'm sure there are going to be fights. We're going to be running around after them. I need the energy. And
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have it unless I'm doing Pilates, unless I'm working out. But I think
Right.
you definitely have more energy when you're younger to run around after your kids and stuff like that.
Yeah. I get
So pros and cons. I think as long as
Yeah.
you make the most of your situation, kids, no kids, early, late, it's
Yeah.
all good, right?
Good.
Yeah.
Great. So do you think, I know we're almost there. Do you have time to take just one more question,
Sure.
Komal?
Sure.
Komal,
you look like you're only 30 is the first one I thought. Thank you. I guess. Please make an IGTV video. Yeah. Was there a specific question?
well, yeah, I see one which says, I feel my blackheads are more prominent on using facial scrub. What should I do?
I don't have this product with me now, but if you hop on over to my profile, Sheetal, there is a little highlight that says Paula's Choice. I made a highlight because I was talking about this product so much. People were asking me about it so much that I decided to just make a highlight of it. It's got a link. It's a product called Paula's Choice. So basically, sorry, let me just look at the question again. My blackheads are more prominent. Do you mean after using a facial scrub? So the thing with facial scrubs and blackheads is blackheads are really just clogged pores that have oxidized, right? So you have your skin produces sebum, it clogs your pores. Sometimes it overproduces sebum, it will clog a pore. And then, the clogged pore, the sebum in the clogged pore gets oxidized, and so it turns black. That's essentially what a blackhead is. When you use a face scrub, you're really just scrubbing the surface, and a blackhead goes deeper in the skin. So one of the best things that you can do if you have blackheads is use a product that contains salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is an extract of willow bark or sugarcane. Sorry, that's glycolic. Willow bark for salicylic. And of all the exfoliants, salicylic acid is the only one that can actually penetrate into your pores and can dissolve sebum. So lactic acid, glycolic acid, azelaic acid, all of those acids can't actually dissolve sebum, but salicylic acid can, which makes it really, really good for if you have blackheads or acne, because all acne starts out as a blackhead or a clogged pore. So I would say don't use a scrub, use a product that contains salicylic acid. One of my favorite products that does contain salicylic acid is called 2% AHA exfoliant. It's by a brand called Paula's Choice. I highly recommend it. I use it all the time. I was photographing it for a magazine shoot yesterday, so it's downstairs. I don't have it with me, but just hop on over to my highlights, and it's like a toner. So you can put it on cotton wool, or you can just put a couple of drops in your hand and just go like that and just pat it in wherever you feel like you have blackheads. Give it about 15 days or so, you will see a difference. It's a really fantastic product. Or just look for products that have salicylic acid. So don't look to physically scrub your blackheads off. It's not really going to help. You may just end up damaging your skin more, causing micro tears. Look for a product that's actually going to try and dissolve the sebum that's clogging the pores, that's causing the blackheads. I'm trying to talk as fast as I can because I know we're running out of time, but hopefully that made sense, and hopefully that helped. And
I
any
think
other
there
questions?
are a lot more questions, but we'll take them offline. So
yes,
we'll
facial razors, I have a lot to say about that. They can be safe. They can be really, really good to exfoliate your skin. But if you have acne prone skin, go easy. We'll respond to these sort of at length.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. So, let's finish off by, thanking our viewers. Thank you so much for joining on our Wellness Weekend. It's been lovely chatting with you, Komal.
It's been great chatting with you as well. Sorry, I have a question that's actually, can we quickly answer one from my husband? Does Pilates help restoring mobility post-injury?
Absolutely, because Pilates as a movement practice was, when Joseph Pilates founded Pilates as a workout regime, it was to rehabilitate prisoners of war during the World War.
Yeah.
So
yes, I remember reading that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you start, practicing Pilates to actually help you with mobility, it works the best. Now we're looking at, keeping a person injury free, say, for example, and that's what eventually helps a person, with any movement that they practice, or say, even getting back into doing your normal routine after being injured. Pilates helps you strengthen all those muscles around an injury, so
especially it's around the knee, etc., right?
And around the knee, or say even if a person's gone through surgery, an accident, or whatsoever, because it helps with mobility. The movements are so subtle, and and again, it is a process, because typically when we see a rehab client, they would have gone through a PT, which is just to kind of help them with those initial movements. And when they start coming to doing Pilates, we're supporting them with the equipment, which is resistance based, which is again to help them with mobility, with flexibility and strengthening. So it's absolutely safe for people to do Pilates, because it is a practice that was introduced to rehabilitate the injured.
That's
so,
right.
but down the line, I know it's got this big mark on it being more of a fitness regime. But again, that's one of the reasons we focus so much on posture and alignment, and your fitness and everything else can, come on after that. So does that answer, one of our viewers' questions, I think? Yeah.
I imagine it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
You as well.
Yeah, and thanks to all of viewers who have watched us today, and just follow our stories for further updates on further Wellbeing weekends that we're coming up with. And any questions that you need, send it to us, and we'll be happy to respond.
Yes, I'm seeing loads of skincare questions. Happy to answer them. So we'll hop on to yours. We'll figure out how we answer them.
Yeah, we'll do that. And any of us who needs to watch our video, they could log into IGTV, and we'll have that recording put on there, so they can, view our conversation. Great. See you, Komal. Lovely chatting, and you take care.
All right, you too. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye.